What if everything you've been told about living an extraordinary life is precisely what's preventing you from having one? That's not just a provocative question. It's the doorway to a different understanding of what extraordinary truly means. The extraordinary life has been marketed as rare achievement and constant optimization. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That definition creates a perpetual gap between where you are and where extraordinary supposedly exists. What if the extraordinary isn't found in rare moments, but in a profound shift in how you experience ordinary moments? The frameworks I'll share don't just change what you do, they transform what you see and what you already have. Consider the last achievement you pursued relentlessly. Remember that brief satisfaction followed by the immediate search for the next target? And isn't it strange how quickly special becomes the new normal? That's not personal failure. It's what happens when we chase extraordinary outcomes, rather than developing extraordinary frameworks. We've all experienced that disappointment of reaching a goal only to find it doesn't feel how we imagined. This quiet disillusionment underpins countless conversations about purpose and meaning in our collective search for something authentic. Chapter 1. The Regret Minimization Framework. Imagine sitting with your 80-year-old self, not the idealized version, but the real you, with all the wisdom time provides. What would they tell you about the decision you're facing today? The Regret Minimization Framework asks what choice will minimize your regret when looking back from age 80. This temporal shift bypasses present bias, our tendency to overvalue immediate outcomes. By projecting yourself to age 80, you access wisdom you don't yet have. It's aligning decisions with deeper values that remain constant even as circumstances change. Let's apply this to deciding whether to have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Most frameworks calculate immediate risks, discomfort, rejection, awkwardness. But the regret framework asks, looking back from age 80, which would you regret more? Temporary discomfort or permanent wonder about what might have happened? We all face these inflection points, where the stakes feel impossibly high precisely because we lack the perspective time would provide. Remember when you chose comfort over potential and felt that quiet disappointment? That wasn't random emotion. It was your future self sending warning signals through time. Chapter 2. Ikigai, your personal intersection of extraordinary. The Japanese concept of Ikigai isn't just another foreign word we've borrowed to sound enlightened at dinner parties. It's like having a map when everyone else is just wandering around. It's a practical framework for finding that sweet spot where passion, purpose, and livelihood converge. Ikigai represents the intersection of four elements: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Unlike Western approaches that prioritize passion alone, Ikigai acknowledges that fulfillment comes from this more complex alignment. The important is that it doesn't require dramatic life changes, often just subtle shifts in how you approach what you're already doing. The power of Ikigai isn't finding some mythical perfect job. It's providing a diagnostic tool for identifying which specific elements of alignment you're missing. That feeling that something's missing despite conventional success? It's your internal compass pointing toward greater alignment with your complete Ikigai. Think about those rare flow states where time disappears and work feels effortless. Those aren't random. They're glimpses of life in your Ikigai zone. Chapter 3. Anti-Fragility, turning volatility into advantage. Most people try building a resilient life that withstands challenges. But what if that's aiming too low? What if, instead of creating a life that survives disruption, you could build one that systematically improves because of disruption? Anti-fragility goes beyond resilience. Resilient things resist damage. Anti-fragile things get better when exposed to volatility and stressors, within limits. Think of muscles that grow through resistance. The extraordinary life isn't built through comfort. It's forged through strategic exposure to the very volatility most people avoid. This isn't just surviving chaos. It's systematically harnessing it. Consider how differently people approach criticism. The fragile person avoids it entirely. The resilient person tolerates it. But the anti-fragile person actively seeks quality feedback to improve faster than others. It's like turning what others see as poison into medicine. Same external factor, different relationship with it. Dramatically different outcomes. Think about your greatest period of personal growth. Wasn't it almost always preceded by challenge that initially seemed purely negative? Chapter 4. Deep work versus shallow work. In an age where most people frantically switch between notifications, messages, and feeds, the ability to perform deep work isn't just rare. It's becoming the ultimate competitive advantage. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. It produces value that's hard to replicate. Contrast this with shallow work, logistical tasks often performed while distracted. The insight isn't just that deep work is valuable, it's that capacity, for it is increasingly rare precisely when it's becoming increasingly valuable. In a distracted world, regularly entering states of concentrated thought transforms both results and experience. Consider two people working on similar projects. One constantly checks email and messages. The other blocks 3 hours of undistracted focus. The first produces ordinary results. The second creates exceptional work while experiencing the profound fulfillment of cognitive immersion. It's the difference between paddling in the shallows and diving into the depths. Remember the last time you were so absorbed in meaningful work that you lost track of time? That wasn't just productivity. It was a glimpse of work at its best. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Also, let me know your thoughts on what I just shared. Oh, and there's more. I've just started a Patreon to help support these videos and connect with you more directly. Check out the link in the description if you'd like to join. Chapter 5. The 80-20 Principle of an Extraordinary Life. Ever notice how we treat all activities as equally important, yet about 20% of what you do creates 80% of your fulfillment? It's like having a superpower and only using it to open jars. The 80-20 principle, or Pareto principle, reveals that roughly 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. In business, 80% of profits typically come from 20% of customers. In productivity, 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In relationships, 80% of your growth and satisfaction likely comes from 20% of your interactions. This distribution appears everywhere once you start looking for it. Most people diffuse energy across countless low-yield activities, then wonder why fulfillment feels elusive. The extraordinary life isn't about doing more. It's about identifying your high-leverage 20% while eliminating the trivial many that consume resources without creating meaningful value. This isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter by focusing relentlessly on what truly moves the needle. Consider your relationships. Someone applying 80-20 might realize that just 3 to 4 deep connections provide 80% of their social fulfillment. By investing deeply in those key relationships, they create more meaning while actually reducing social maintenance time. It's like upgrading from a buffet of bland food to a gourmet meal with just your favorite dishes. This principle often feels counterintuitive because we're conditioned to believe that more effort always equals more results. But the extraordinary insight here is that less, focused on the right things, often produces dramatically more. This isn't laziness. It's strategic elimination of low-value activities to make room for high-value ones. Take your skills and knowledge. The 80-20 principle suggests that 20% of what you could learn would generate 80% of the value in your field. Extraordinary performers identify those vital few skills and develop them to exceptional levels rather than being mediocre at dozens of tangential capabilities. When you apply this filter to every domain of life, extraordinary results become almost inevitable. Think about your most fulfilling day recently. Wasn't it when you focused on just 1 or 2 important things rather than checking off dozens of trivial tasks? That's the 80-20 principle at work in your life, whether you recognize it or not. Chapter 6. Second-order thinking. Ever played chess with someone thinking only 1 move ahead while you're planning 3? That's the difference between ordinary decision-making and second-order thinking. It's not just what happens next, it's what happens after what happens next. Second-order thinking requires asking, and then what? First-order thinkers stop at immediate effects. Second-order thinkers see cascading impacts through time. This reveals why seemingly smart short-term decisions often create long-term problems. The career move that increases salary but decimates life quality. The relationship compromise that avoids conflict now but erodes trust over time. This mental model is particularly powerful because our brains aren't naturally wired for it. We evolved to prioritize immediate concerns, food, safety, status, over distant possibilities. But in our complex modern world, many of the most important consequences unfold in those second and third order effects that our instincts miss entirely. This creates an extraordinary advantage for those who can overcome this biological limitation. Consider social media. First-order thinking sees only immediate benefits: connection, entertainment, information. but it's like eating nothing but candy, immediately pleasant, but progressively harmful. Second-order thinking recognizes subsequent effects: attention fragmentation, comparison anxiety, reduced focus capacity. By seeing these cascading consequences, you redesign your relationship with technology to capture benefits while avoiding harms others blindly accept. The most sophisticated application comes when you can anticipate not just second-order effects, but how systems will adapt to those effects, creating third and fourth-order consequences. This requires understanding both mechanics, how things work, and dynamics, how things change over time. It's the difference between playing checkers, chess, and three-dimensional chess, each level revealing possibilities invisible to those operating at lower levels of thinking. Everything clicks into place when you develop this skill. You begin seeing life as an integrated system where choices create ripple effects, not disconnected moments to be individually optimized. This shift from episodic to systems thinking doesn't just improve decisions, it transforms how you perceive reality itself. Chapter 7: Implementation: Daily Practices for Perspective Shifts. You know what's rarer than knowing what to do? Actually doing it consistently. It's like we're all buying gym memberships for our minds, but never showing up for the workouts. Implementation requires three elements: triggers, rituals, and environmental design. Triggers automatically activate specific mental models. Rituals strengthen frameworks through repetition. Environmental design modifies surroundings to reinforce desired thinking. It's beautifully simple. Together, these create a system where extraordinary thinking becomes your path of least resistance rather than requiring constant willpower. To implement the regret framework, create specific triggers. Before any significant decision, look at a photo representing your future self. It's like having a time-traveling advisor, except it's just you with wrinkles. Establish a ritual. Review the week's decisions every Sunday. Then, design your environment. Place visual reminders in spaces where you make important choices. These strategies don't just help you occasionally apply these frameworks. They literally rewire your default neural pathways over time. This is the difference between visiting an extraordinary perspective and permanently residing there. Chapter 8: Common Obstacles and How to Overcome Them. Why do so many potentially extraordinary lives remain merely ordinary? It's rarely from lack of knowledge, but from predictable obstacles that most people hit, then retreat from. It's like having a GPS, but turning back at the first roadblock. Three major obstacles block implementation. First, environmental resistance: existing systems designed to maintain current patterns. This includes everything from social circles that subtly discourage change to digital environments optimized to hijack your attention. Second, mental resistance: your brain fighting perspective shifts that challenge established neural pathways. This manifests as rationalization, procrastination, and automatic reversion to habitual thinking under stress. Third, emotional resistance: the discomfort that comes from seeing reality more clearly and recognizing the gap between your current and potential life. The extraordinary life requires not just avoiding these obstacles, but developing specific strategies to transmute them into catalysts. This isn't about pushing through resistance with brute force willpower, a strategy that inevitably fails, but about working with your psychology rather than against it. It's about creating systems of implementation that account for these predictable challenges in advance. When applying deep work, you'll face digital distraction. Instead of just fighting urges, restructure the challenge. It's like turning a tug of war into a dance. Create artificial scarcity: 90 minutes of focus, then a 15-minute break. This transforms resist indefinitely into postpone temporarily, building focus muscles while honoring psychological needs. For social resistance, rather than trying to change others, which creates defensiveness, create implementation cocoons, protected environments where you can practice new thinking patterns without external interference. This might be a weekly meeting with like-minded individuals, a specific physical space designated for deep work, or scheduled periods of digital disconnection where alternative perspectives can take root. For emotional resistance, develop what psychologists call emotional agility: the ability to acknowledge uncomfortable emotions without being controlled by them. This means recognizing when fear of change or discomfort with uncertainty arises, labeling it explicitly: I'm feeling resistance to this new perspective, and proceeding with implementation despite rather than because of emotional comfort. The extraordinary life often begins precisely where your comfort zone ends. Each obstacle you overcome builds confidence and competence for the next challenge, creating positive momentum. Remember trying to make a significant change, but reverting to old patterns? What if that wasn't failure, but simply an encounter with resistance that you now have tools to navigate? Reframing obstacles as expected and manageable parts of the journey transforms even setbacks into progress. Chapter 9: The Compound Effect of Mental Models. If I offered you $1,000 today or a penny doubled every day for 30 days, which would you choose? That penny becomes over $5 million by day 30. Mental models work the same way. It's not about individual impact, but exponential compounding over time. Each framework creates value independently, but their true power emerges through integration. The regret framework helps you make better decisions. Those decisions align with your Ikigai. Operating in your Ikigai facilitates deep work. Deep work helps implement the 80-20 principle more effectively. Each framework doesn't just add value, it multiplies the effectiveness of all others. It's like having different experts in your mind working together as a team. This compounding effect fundamentally alters your relationship with reality, gradually replacing default thinking patterns with an integrated operating system optimized for meaning, growth, and fulfillment. We often expect transformation through singular breakthroughs, but profound life changes emerge through consistent application of interconnected principles that compound like interest over time. Imagine how different your life might be in 5 years if every decision, reaction, and priority were filtered through these frameworks, not occasionally, but as your default way of experiencing reality. Hey, productive people, I'm Peter, and I'm super excited to share something special with you. If you've been enjoying my content here, you're going to love what I've got over on my YouTube membership. By becoming a member, you'll unlock all the wonderful perks below. Get access to exclusive illustrations, full transcript release, polls for future videos, plus some fun surprises along the way. But it's more than just extra content. It's a way for you to directly support what I do. Your membership helps me keep creating, exploring new ideas, and bringing you even better content. So, if you're ready to take your support to the next level and be part of the inner circle, hit that join button below. I can't wait to see you there.